So at 29, when you got sober,
Mhm.
and that was when, what was the change point then? Like, what was the thing that was like, okay, no, we're done.
Police. No.
That'll do it.
That was part of it. No, you know what? And again, so I didn't have kids yet at that point, and I'd been to rehab, I'd been to church, I'd been to a shaman. Like, I had really tried what I felt like was everything to quit. Like, I'd gone to AA. I was very relieved when I went into AA that, like, I thought early on, totally misunderstood the purpose of it. I'm like, I'm just here to, like, drinking is really screwing up my drug use, and I need to figure out how to balance these things. Like, I mean, I do make jokes about it, but I think that literally is what was going on in my head, is I just, if I can just get this under control and in the right balance, people will stop bugging me, because I was making a mess of things. So my wife got pregnant. Like, how dare she? And I recognized in that moment I was certainly not prepared to be a father, but I was 29 years old, and his birth was going to, like, shift everything for me. I was magically just going to be sober and a
That was
great
the
dad.
assumption.
Exactly. Like, that's what I thought. And for a couple months, I did that. Like, I was dad of the year, as if a baby cares what dad thinks anyway. But, a couple months into his life, I found myself deep in the hood, smoking crack and drinking and spending 6 days, on this near-death experience of a binge where I kind of didn't care if I died. Like, I didn't sleep for 6 days, and I didn't eat for 6 days, and it was just one of those. And that ended with me, handcuffed on the ground and watching the police search my car. And there's bullet holes in the car from, people shooting at me, not the car. And I just recognized that something had to change, and I had this bolt of lightning moment in a way. It's not the first time this scenario had played out in my life, of course, but that time was different because it was the first time that I had a son, and it did matter, and I knew I didn't want to die. And I had this, like, epiphany that's so cliche in a way, but the words, like, nobody's coming to save you, popped into my head. And it was the recognition that so many people supported me and wanted the best for me. And I had been so afraid to let go of my crutch, which was drinking and drugs, and that fear of not being able to do those things anymore. And I was able to just let it go in that moment. And the only religion I had growing up was Southern Baptist with my grandparents. So I pretty much knew I was screwed, like, from, like, the time I was 5. I'm like, just for my thoughts.
Right.
Like, I knew I was in trouble.
Right.
So I didn't have a lot of, like, prayer or that sort of spiritual base in my life. But I said a prayer, in that moment, which was actually pretty simple. I just said, I just want this burden lifted. Like, all my prayers before, just to be clear, a lot of Santa Claus prayers, a lot of, if you'll get me out of this mess I've created, then I'm going to make some changes. It wasn't that. I didn't ask for anything. I just said, look, I just don't want to feel this way anymore. And I'm not saying it was, like, suddenly gone, but, like, it gave me the knowledge and ability to go to a meeting that night, get up the next day and go for a run. And then, like, for the next 3 years, I did those two things every single day for 3 years as the foundation of my life, even recognizing that, like, my kids did not come first. My AA meetings and my running came first. And my wife gave me enough grace to understand without those things, I wasn't going to be around to be a dad. Like, me as a dad drinking and using was not a useful person. And so her support of me, we ended up we stayed married, 13 years total. And we're still, like, I love her to death still to this day. And, like, we have an amazing relationship, but and I probably wouldn't have gotten sober, without her support. When you help someone else grow, there's no guarantee that they're growing in the same direction you are.
Right.
Yeah.
So her helping me grow I got married when I was deep in addiction. Like, I needed a caretaker. I needed someone to look after me and call my boss and say, Charlie doesn't feel great today. Like, he can't come in. Like, I needed that person. Then when I got sober, it's like magically like, wow, I don't need that person anymore. Who am I married to?
Right.
And I loved her as the mother of my kids, but I wasn't in love with her. Maybe I wasn't ever. I don't know. But like I also recognize that the example we were setting for our kids of a basically non-loving,
Mm.
not that we
Couple.
were nice to each other, but we
Yeah.
were like
Yeah.
roommates. You know, like that
Yeah.
we weren't teaching our kids how to have a loving partnership.
Yeah.
And, you know, the best thing to do, you know, was to part company. So I still give her like all the gratitude for, you know, helping me find, you know, a path that she wanted very much for me, but, you know, she wasn't necessarily happy about, you know, us parting.